What's up, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I am Deanna Reese Williams, and today I'm going to be talking with you guys about how I stay productive, per usual. So, some of my best productivity tools that I use, and again, you guys know I like things on paper. I do like to use things that are digital. I'm going to give you a brief outline of some things that I'm going to mention today. All right, so why productivity tools matter. What are my top 5 must-have tools that I use? How I use them more to be more efficient, and then productivity mistakes I've made and fixed, and then my daily workflow with these tools. So let's get right into it. First question, what tools have helped me stay organized? I cannot stress this enough. You guys have heard me say this a million times. Good old-fashioned calendars. Good old-fashioned calendars. And I know you guys are probably sick and tired of me talking about this goal development plan that is not like for public consumption, but I created this myself about 4 or 5 years ago. And it's been really instrumental as I'm navigating through several different tools or several different projects as we speak. Right now, as I record this video, right now I am gearing up to relaunch my nature-based preschool program, along with recording YouTube videos and finishing up my podcast series. And you guys can't forget, I'm also a full-time faculty at a community college. And this week is our finals week. So grades are due in 2 weeks. I have a lot of moving parts happening along with grants. The list goes on. So I won't bore you guys with all the details, but honestly, the only way that I can stay organized is through my calendars. I take a lot of notes, as you see here, I have my notes for today's video. I also have a notebook that I use for work as well, but I don't have that in front of me. So I've also used my tablet to take notes. I've taken notes on Google Notes. I use all kinds of Google tools. So Google Suite has Google Keep It Notes. It has Google Docs. It has slide decks. And that's a free option. Another tool that I've used that was introduced to me is Notion. I use Notion to organize all of my professional projects that I'm working on. Big shout out to my creative partner who put my Notion stuff together. And so I have a place where every single thing that I've ever thought of in the last 3 to 4 years, it is housed in a Notion itself. I have not branched out too much in Notion to use it in work. Sometimes I've used it as a tool for work, but another tool that I've also used is Padlet. So if I'm wanting to organize a project, I've used Padlet, and that's been another great tool to just keep myself organized with things. Those are just a couple of the tools that just come to the top of my mind. My most used productivity tool and why? I mean, it's a given. It's the calendar. I use my calendar all the time. It's the only way that I'm going to keep track of things. And actually, more recently in my position as a full-time faculty, all of our grades are digital for our students. And so something that I noticed when it came down to student grades, I turn in the grades or I grade their assignments, but I really was not able to see where student progress was at. And that's partly because everything was digital. And so I find, to make sure that I can keep track of the students that are falling behind, that I need to have a separate grade book just with all the student names and just making sure students are turning stuff in. And the reason why this is important is because if I need to notify a student, hey, I'm a little concerned, you might need to withdraw from class, or hey, what's the plan to get your work turned in on time? My point of saying this is that digital tools are great, but for me, when things are digital, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. It's not concrete enough for me to remember that something needs to change or something needs to be added, or just keeping track of stuff. And so I find if I have something digital, I need to have some sort of blueprint of that information written down, so then I can remember that this thing exists. That's the only, I would say, dangerous things about not dangerous, that's probably like too much to say. I would say that's the one thing for me when it comes to like keeping track, is that if I don't write it down, then it doesn't really exist. It's kind of just there. So making sure that you write things down, or just having a system in place that's going to help you remember that you have things that you need to complete and keep moving along. How do you avoid over relying on your tools? I think I just explained this, like over relying on digital tools is great, but then you have to find a way to remember that you even are using these tools, or that you created a document, or like it's not normal, I guess. It doesn't feel normal or natural to me. So just making sure that you find a way that you can create habits. That's what it boils down to. For me, even if I don't write in my calendar, I know that I have the same routine and the same habits, and I do the same thing. And then certain days of the week, I'm doing certain habits and certain routines. So I would say your routine is going to be pivotal in keeping track of things if you're not wanting to rely on tools and stuff. Keeping yourself organized. Like, it's so funny. My better half and I have this conversation all the time about clutter, not to clutter, and what does that look like, and how do you stay organized. And for me, like if I'm working in a space, I really have a hard time like working in a very cluttered space. And so I have to organize it. And we recently started working out in our gym, in our garage, and we're converting part of it into a gym. And I said, listen, I need to like organize this stuff. Like, I can't keep coming in here and everything's just kind of like scattered all over the place. Like, you have some garage stuff, and then you have like weights, and none of it makes any sense. In my mind, it just needs to be organized. But I know that that's like my ministry. For him, it just doesn't bother him. He's like, I'm just gonna work out, it's fine, I'll organize this tomorrow. But I do think sometimes people get really overwhelmed by clutter. Like, they may not really like clutter. Like, he doesn't necessarily like clutter, but for him to try to figure out how to organize all of it, I think it just made him really, really overwhelmed. And so that's just my take on it. I'm like, that's just what I've observed. We've been married 19 years. We've been together 20 years in June. And so that's just our thing. But there's certain parts about how he stays organized where it really keeps me kind of in line, because I'm the person that wants it all organized, so then it's easier to maintain. And he's the person that wants to like deep clean and get into every detail, which I want to do that too, but I can't do that until things are organized. So again, my point is like making sure you have a good routine. And if you have a good routine of like maintaining your organizational tools or whatever you're doing, then I think it's going to be easier to manage things. That's just my perspective. One tool I wish I had discovered earlier. Man, this is so hard. I failed to mention another great tool is your cell phone. I don't know how many people had a Crackberry, but I was one of those people. And then I had a Windows phone, I had a Sidekick, I had all of them. And now I'm Android. Apple people, don't come for me. Don't even try it. I'm not making the switch. I'm already loyal to the brand. But I will say one tool that I wish I would have had early on. And I had to mention cell phone because I think sometimes people take it for granted that cell phones can be used as a tool, whether it's your calendar, creating documents. I mean, it's a walking computer in your pocket or your purse, let's be real. So, but a tool that I wish that I had, gosh, I feel like a tool that I wish I would have learned is probably spreadsheets. I wish I would have learned how to use spreadsheets early on. And the reason why I say this is, as someone who is managing a grant for work, co-managing, I deal with spreadsheets all the time. And then being a solo entrepreneur and having to manage my own books, again, working with spreadsheets again. I wish I would have learned these things early on, because it would make things so much easier for me now. But it's okay. It doesn't mean I can't learn now, or that I'm not learning right now. But that's a tool that I wish I would have really paid attention to more when I had the opportunity to learn about it in high school. But aside from that, I feel like there's a million tools out there. If you're not using some sort of AI, like AI can be a great tool to get you organized. You could say like, hey, what are the best tools out there for me to use to organize myself for my business? Or what's the best marketing strategy I can use for relaunching my business? Like there's just so many tools available that honestly didn't exist even 6 years ago when I became a solo entrepreneur. So anyways, I hope this video was helpful to you all. Please like and subscribe, and also note that I upload videos on Sundays and Wednesdays. I typically will go live on Sundays, but I've noticed that I'm taking a slight little break. But until next time, have a great day, have a great night, and have a good morning wherever you're watching this video. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next one.